For the first time since 1971, gold and silver are recognized as legal tender. Well, at least in certain parts of the U.S. The state of Utah passed the Utah Legal Tender Act back in March, and it recognizes gold and silver coins which are issued by the federal government. So I wanted to get David Morgan's opinion on this. He's my guest today. He's considered one of the best silver gurus around, and he's the editor of thesilverinvestor.com. So thank you for joining me today, David.
Danielle, it's great to be with you again.
David, from what I understand, you're a big proponent of this act.
Absolutely. I was asked to attend from some friends of mine in Utah that are saw me as one of the leaders in the honest money revival or movement, however you want to phrase it. And of course, I was very honored to be asked and jumped at the opportunity to be there at the signing.
So, David, as I mentioned at the start, I covered this topic back in March, and I know that other states are looking to follow suit. But my question is, how realistic is it that this idea will catch fire?
I know. In fact, I just wrote something recently on it. Is it a moral victory, or is it really going to be, gain traction? And that remains to be seen. I'm open-minded, but as I've spoke about before and written about before, Gresham's law comes into account, and what that means, of course, is that why would you spend silver or gold into circulation when you could spend fiat currency that's depreciating and hold on to metals that is appreciating? And the answer to that is, I don't know exactly. I can give you a couple of hypotheticals or actual valid, reasons why someone might consider it. One would be if you are a retailer, you might offer a discount if you pay in silver or gold. So that would be one reason. The other reason is, I'm true free market. So, I mean, if someone is nearing retirement or maybe they're a pretty good market timer. I mean, when silver is getting toward 50, they might have said, I always wanted that big screen TV. And, I don't think silver is going to hold up to 50. I'm going to go ahead and make my purchase with my silver and do it that way. Certainly that would account for a reason to sell it.
So how would it work, David? Would stores need to be doing assay testing? How would they check to see if the coin is real?
Bring up all valid points, but most of that is going to be circumvented because it's my understanding, and I don't know where we are in this process. There is already a depository, and the depository will take in government issued coinage only. That's how the bill is written. So you can only use silver eagles or gold eagles or pre-1965 junk silver coins, or you could, and it's my understanding you might be able to use any minted by the U.S. Mint coinage. So, one, it's restricted to what coins are there. Secondly, these are bullion coins. So what you get is what is the value, basically minute to minute of these coins when you spend them at any given point in time. And it's going to be, again, from what I've been told, issued a debit card to the people that deposit coinage with the Utah Depository. So let's go through a real quick scenario. You deposit $10,000 in silver and gold at the depository. You are issued a debit card, and now you go in to make a transaction. It's really pretty transparent to the vendor. You go in and he's going to run your debit card like any other debit card, and it's going to transact for you on the accounting side exactly how much came out of your account.
So with the presidential race kicking off, David, do you think that this is a topic we'll see on the agenda?
I doubt it at this time. I think, again, as you mentioned, there are other states that have similar legislation. This is the first state to enact it into law. I chuckle somewhat when you say that, but chuckle from the aspect of the monetary question used to be one of the biggest questions in the presidential debates going back through history. But very few people know that, but they were very, very important. I mean, you go back to, William Jennings Bryan's Cross of Gold speech, and he was an advocate of silver, as you well know. Andrew Jackson. Through the history of the United States, the monetary question was huge in the presidential elections at certain times in history, but people have lost sight of that. And the only one that even brings it up is Ron Paul, and he's marginalized in these debates, unfortunately. I mean, the mainstream just kind of gives him the short shrift and doesn't really allow him to articulate exactly why it's important for everyone, from the richest to the poorest, to be on a standard that doesn't favor anyone. And unfortunately, again, this is my strong opinion, right? This is something that we really have to make right eventually. And if it doesn't get righted at some point, then I think the consequences are going to be very significant over time.
Well, I wish everyone luck with this. David, what are the next steps for you?
My hope is that it catches some traction and that people are willing to, spend some of their gold and silver into circulation. And if it doesn't, I'll take the Hugo Salinas Price approach, which Hugo has been instrumental in helping to get legislation into Mexico to do something similar, where you could have silver libertads or silver coins used as currency alongside with the peso, and people are allowed to make a choice, again, voluntary basis. And what he pointed out, and I want to emphasize here before we close out, is that even if this bill, although it is law, it doesn't really get enacted when there's a lot of transactions that take place. It will be a wake-up call for all Utah citizens and other states as well, and it probably will promote more people saving in gold and silver. And that's key, because whether or not they circulate it or not, which I would hope that they would, at least it gives them the ability to save, in real money. And I think that's going to be becoming more and more important as time moves forward.
All right, David, thanks again for joining us on Kitco News.
All right. Well, thank you for having me.
And thank you for watching. You can email me your comments and questions at newsfeedback@kitco.com.